Hey ladies, I'm just making a video response to a bunch of emails that I've gotten recently asking about hair extensions and my care, like my personal taste, and just a bunch of questions. So I'm just going to get right into it. My first question that I had asked multiple times was, what kind of hair do I use and why? I personally am not a brands girl, so you will never see me buying the same hair. I like to try out different brands, but I do like to stay in the same family of hair. I personally use Brazilian Remy hair most of the time. Malaysian is alright, I've used it a couple times, but I stick with Brazilian. These ones here, I couldn't find any Brazilian at my salon or my beauty supply store just because they were all out of the Brazilian and I needed the hair. So this is Yaki. And I most likely will never use Yaki again just because I find it just feels not as soft and lustrous as it usually is with the Brazilian. I personally use virgin hair because I have almost black hair and it matches with my hair, but if you've got blonde or really light brown, you can't use virgin hair obviously because it has to have been processed to get to that color. But yeah, so that's what I use, and I use the Brazilian because I find personally it is a lot stronger hair. It's not elasticy feeling, it's not dry, it's not brittle, it doesn't shed as much as well. Shedding is a big thing for me because my real hair sheds a lot. I don't want my weave to be shedding too as much. Obviously I know some of it's going to come out, but I don't want it to be constant. So my next question I was asked was, do you sew yours in or do you clip it in, and why? I personally get my boyfriend's mommy to sew my hair extensions in. She does a great job, and I personally cannot sew my own extensions in because I can't do it. I don't have that much skill yet. So hopefully one day I can, but for now, she's really helping me out with that. I personally recommend, just because I don't like clips, I really don't, because they're just a nuisance. Like every morning you've got to get up and clip them in, and blah blah blah. So I mean, I personally want mine sewn in, and they stay in for a month and a half. Usually I leave mine in, and I just feel like there's just less work, and I get half of my head weaved, so from here up is my hair, and then all under is my weave. And every single time I've gotten a sew in, I've had it done that way. Once I got it the opposite, and we won't even go there. And but anyways, I would just say get your tracks sewn in. I mean, I charge 40 bucks. It's not that expensive, and I do free tightenings and free removal if you consistently come to me. And you'll notice that even with the amount of hair that you have cornrowed, which it's so small, your braids, but it's that much less real hair that you have on your head. So it seems like styling time is cut a bit. Mine is personally because my almost 3/4 of my head is sewn in. But anyways, same kind of question, why don't I like clipping in my extensions? Just for time. I have a lot of hair and I most likely have most of it braided up just because I can't with straightening my whole head anymore. Now that my hair is really long naturally, it just takes too much time. So I like to have my weave in because I just feel like it takes styling time, just cuts it in half, at least. The next question, I'm trying to remember them off by heart, sorry. The next question was, how do you wash your hair with extensions sewn in? I personally wash, like I separate my hair, like with my real hair on the top, I personally just throw that over my sink in my salon downstairs, and I just wash that, and I blow dry that. And I do that every 3 days usually, 2 to 3 days, because I can't wash my hair every day, I have way too much hair for that. But I do wash this all the time, but my actual weave, I know this might sound kind of gross, but I think maybe once a month I wash in between my braids, but every week I do wash and really condition my extensions from about here, like up down. I do. I wash it with really good shampoo. I use keratin infused shampoo just because my hair on top I do as well, because my hair is keratin treated. But you know. But anyways, that's how I wash it. And I usually put this in a ponytail or a braid when I am washing up here because I don't want to get the braids wet, personally. And when you have your hair braided up, you'll notice that it doesn't get as greasy, it doesn't get flaky. It does get flaky because you aren't scrubbing that half of your head, but it's not as bad as you think. But yeah, that's how I wash my hair. And I usually just straighten the ends. Don't really have much else to do because it is straight hair. My next question is, oh god, what is it again? My next question was, how, like, does it hurt to get a sew-in? Well, it all depends. I'm so used to it now, and I have a very thick scalp, and my hair is very thick and coarse. I personally don't feel it. Like, I'm just, that's like me. A lot of black girls say they don't feel it either. White girls, your scalp is different and your hair is different, so it might hurt a little bit. Like, you might get a bit of a headache. I recommend to the clients before I do a sew-in to take an Advil or something, because I do pull tight, because you don't want your braids to fall out. So I do pull pretty tight, but it doesn't hurt that much. It's going to be a bit uncomfortable, and it might feel a bit bulky than you're used to. Like, mine's most likely going to be way more bulky than any of yours because I have so much hair. But I would say my biggest thing is the first week of my sew-in, it's itchy. I just find in between my tracks are itchy, and I itch it, and you know, it's just what happens. But after that, it's not too bad. It's definitely bearable, 100% bearable. And once you keep getting it, you'll get used to it, and you'll just start to feel it. Like, you'll just start to feel weird without your hair sewn in. I hadn't had a sew-in for almost 2 years, and now that I have it again, I just love it. I missed it so much. But yeah, it shouldn't hurt too much. If it hurts too much, they've pulled it too tight. It should loosen up after a while, but you might want to go in with a comb and kind of, like a thin tooth comb, and kind of pick in there a little bit. Not too much because you don't want to break the strings, or the thread, sorry. And my last question that I'm going to answer on this video, because I am running up time, is how do you do the sew-in? Well, that's kind of a hard question to answer, but anyways, bottom line, the process that I do is depending on what you want. Like, if you wear your hair up a lot, I sew it in differently. If you always have your hair down, I sew it in differently. If you have very thin hair, I sew it in differently. Really thick hair, I sew it in differently. So it all really depends. My most popular among my clients is being able to wear your hair up. That's when I leave about a quarter of your hair at the bottom without any sew-in, and then I start with my tracks every other, like I do a track and then I leave a section of hair, a track, and then leave a section of hair. And I do it up to about your ear, top of your ear, and then depending on how much higher I can go with the track showing, that's it. And I also leave about an inch on either side of your hair, and sew in the track in between those, just so you can wear your hair up and you don't see your tracks. Me, personally, I get my whole half of my 3/4 of my head weaved. So from the bottom, the nape of my neck, to almost about here is all fake, all sewn in. But again, I never wear my hair down when I never wear my hair up when I have a sew-in. If I do, I usually just put it in a side ponytail or a low or a fishtail braid, you know. I never really wear it up, and I do wrap my hair up at night. I recommend wrapping your hair up at night. I just use a simple bandana, and I tie it from about here, and I go under, and I just do it loosely. Sometimes it falls off, but anyways, it's the effort that counts. So those are my questions that I'm going to answer today about these sew-ins and the hair extensions. But one more thing I need to say is, please, when you're buying hair, make sure that you don't get ripped off and touch it, you know what I mean? Feel it. Don't let the person tell you that you can't touch it or whatever. And make sure when you're buying hair, it doesn't say 100% human hair blend, because it is blended with synthetic hair, or just like human hair. That's not a brand. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is just like human hair, which is not human hair, but they still charge you the same amount. So, keep your eyes open when you're buying your hair, and if you buy good hair, I personally, like I said, recommend Brazilian. It will last you probably 3 or 4 sew-ins. I personally use it for 2 just because I like to switch it up with lengths and stuff, but I mean, you could always then clip ins after, like whatever. But anyways, that's my hair extension video for now. If you have any more questions or any questions about anything, just send me an inquiry and I will most likely make a video or just respond to you individually. Thanks.